All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our daily live for reclaiming being the supreme authority of your reality. Heads up, these lives are coming to an end. This will be our last week. It seems our workshop is ending. We're getting to the end of the workshop. However, we obviously have the 2 courses you can be going to, and we will be releasing some of my favorite meditations and masterclasses that are in the Manifest Together library. If you want access right now, we will be releasing those incrementally. And obviously, I'll be jumping on here again, here and there. Otherwise, I will be, like I said yesterday, releasing a program that's all about really using the imagination and the senses to command reality. It's going to be a live group setting. That's going to be available on the website. I'm sure we'll promote it here. And if you're not subscribed to our emails, be sure to do that so you know what's coming up. But let's dive in so we can keep going together. And we're going to bring this to a really cool close this week. I'm excited. Now, before we start, let's just go ahead and take a big breath in and out. Come into your core, come into that 0 point energy. If you are new here, be sure to go back so you know what we're doing here. So go in, breathing in and out, getting into our core, into that 0 point energy where we always are acknowledging we are a sovereign being. This is our world. This is our imagination pushed out. This is our one reality. We're the one that is in charge. We are the power. We are the one that validates if the wish fulfiller is happening or not. We are the one that gives it to ourselves. We are the one that gives us permission to relax because it's done. It's ours, right? Being the supreme authority really means that we end the checking or any type of external validation to a world that never had the authority to give it to you because it was always reflecting you. So obviously during the past, how many lives we've done and throughout this workshop, we've just been reclaiming all the places we've been kind of conditioned to submit to an outer reality. We're taking that back so we can see reality for the mirror that it is, for the mirage that it is. So nothing, no one is bigger than you. And so all of our actions that we do in this inner outer world when we're like playing with the mirror is not from a place of lack. It's not from a place of trying to get something. It's not from a place of trying to make it happen. All the things that truly make no sense if you know that you're the operant power, you're the only authority, and the mirror is just reflecting. So we've been taking all those sneaky, insidious places that we were conditioned to react, to people please, to kind of fall into these, we'll say entrapments, but they become our freedom of manipulation, right? Where we're working for money. We're conditioned to earn love. We are competing with others. We are like under the influence of time. Time's above us. Money's above us. Others are above us. Anything that, again, you were acting to get approval of, to get validation of, we're taking that back and be like, wait, it's my world. Hold on here. It's all my imagination. And what I think has probably been the most important part of this whole series is we're getting the senses to stop passively observing and to generate in every moment, to command this outer reality to reflect what you want so it can finally be a true reflection of you, right? Where we're at in the workshop and where we're going to go tonight is once we get into these places of, because it starts to click. That's the thing. You do this, and like the first few times, just like with inner conversations, if you've been following my work for a while, I remember the first few times I did inner conversations with just people and like hearing the words of like, no, I love you and I adore you and I care about you. And instantly my mind would reject it. It would just be like, no, that's never happened. That's not real. And it took, right, a lot of courage and a lot of, at the time, like essentialness to realize, okay, no, everyone really is me pushed out. And you start out by testing the waters. You test it out by, you just start playing with, I'm going to hear, someone tells me I'm beautiful today. I'm going to hear this like word, or I'm going to see this thing. And then you hear it in a song or someone says it to you. I used to use the example that when I first started doing it, I remember writing down, someone's going to tell me that I'm beautiful. And this was during a stage where I just felt so unwanted. I felt so invisible. I was in such a place of grief where I was like, oh, why am I even setting this up? And I was walking my dogs and a little kid came out and they literally screamed to me, hey, you're beautiful. And it was so pure because it was a child. It was brilliant. And I remember in that moment, it really started to click of like, okay. That kid like literally came out their door to tell me that. And that is something I wrote down. Like, I'll go back to my house and it's on my desk written down. Right. And so we go through this process of, is it really true? Is it real? Because we've been conditioned to not believe our ultimate truth, that we are the sole authority of our reality and our inner conversations create our circumstance. So just like that, we start out in this period where it doesn't really feel like much. We're doing it, we're half doubting it. And we have these moments of like, oh, okay. Now it's the same thing with the senses, right? As we are getting our senses to really, instead of just passively like observing the mirror and reacting to it, getting them to really, okay, I want you to imagine this is happening. We're going to see it. We're going to taste it. We're going to touch it. We're going to smell it. We're going to be touched by it. We're going to touch it. We're going to hold it. We're going to feel it. We're going to act from it. We're going to really get our imaginal acts to like generate and command and like claim it. And then on top of that, no matter what's happening out here, I'm going to really own my truth, that whatever my wish fulfilled is, like that's actually the truth. And I'm going to stand in my power. I'm going to hold the throne like we've talked about. And whatever is happening out here truly is irrelevant. Either I will change it with my senses, or it's like not a bother, or it's obviously just reflecting my wish fulfilled, plain and simple. And so at first, like someone said yesterday, yeah, it's hard. And there is that, it's a new habit, right? So there's that conditioning at first where the brain's like, can I do this? I want you all to remember that it's your natural state to generate with your senses. Being the authority of your reality is your baseline, truly. Being the like power in your reality, being loved, being wealthy, being healthy, being worshipped, being adored, whatever your thing is, that is your baseline, which is why you even have the desire. If it wasn't your baseline, how would you even conceive to think of something, right? If this outer world was truly your only reality, besides like maybe movies and stuff, how would you even conceive, let alone persist, that you could do something that would seem so illogical based on past conditioning? So that to me is like, okay, if I even have the audacity, right, to think of these thoughts, see them out there, even when everything else is telling me no, there must be something to this. And then we keep working it. We really use those imaginal muscles in every moment. And we use the power that we have to like transmute emotions, as we've talked about, to really get through the conditioning that will then continue to show up, right? It will. It's going to show up. And this is what this next part of tonight is, where at least for me, and it's really powerful. We're probably going to do this in the course that I'm going to start, the group course I'll be doing soon on the imagination, where it's like all the conditioning will come up, right? Where it's like that is your opportunity to generate your senses, generate your imagination in that moment, because it's only coming up to be changed. It's only coming up to be like, wait, I was told I can't bend time. Wait, I was told like I'm not bigger than money. I'm not bigger than the news. I'm not bigger than celebrities. I'm not bigger than my job or my family of origin. I'm not bigger than that. All that stuff's going to come up from when we were really little, right? And this is our opportunity to be like, okay, no, we are. Let's do it. Let's do it. And then right by the third time, you start to actually feel it. And then you start to see it. Because in all honesty, like when you do start to see it at that point, you don't even care, especially when we're doing these big systematic changes of like manipulation, right? The ones we've been doing here, like guilt tripping or blackmail or anything that had us submitting to the mirror. I do find it's a bigger system at play. So it takes a little bit more like coverage And that's why, to me, getting all the senses going is extraordinarily helpful. I don't want to say mandatory, but I'm finding it mandatory for myself. And that's why I'll be doing the group, so we can all do it together in that effort. But when we make these massive systemic changes in our sovereign world, and the one I want to talk about is success is unsafe. Now, there's a lot of theories on this. I don't want to go into in this moment. We're going to go into a few here. You'll hear a lot of different ones, but essentially, when we kind of get into this place of true authority, it's starting to click. We're generating the imaginal acts. So every moment's becoming a powerful moment. And then, like, whether it's the family of origin or like the bigger, like, overarching ones of like government systems or money or things that time that have seemed so unmalleable. When we get to that place, I find that as we cover something like success and being your true authority, instead of it being unsafe, but it being your baseline and it being like the ultimate no matter what, and we really become bigger than things that we thought were so much bigger than us. Like, this is the groundbreaking shift where not only, because if you followed my work for a while, my life has not been like smooth sailing. I've manifested some incredible things. And for those that know my story, yeah, it is very impressive to me. I know the work I put into this, right? But to sustain the type of manifestations that I want in my life, where I want and am manifesting, right, eternal just fulfillment and peace and power and like a life that truly just reflects me. That's what I'm here to do. And that's what, right, this work is here to do, that anyone that's ready for that is like, yeah, let's do it. Then we have to be able to look at those bigger systems and realize we are bigger than them, and have then the assumptions and the ability to generate the senses in all those moments. So our world sustains far past the old one and the old systems that were never yours and never truly had authority over you, right? But we were conditioned to play into the game for whatever reason. So this is where part of, coming into the true authority of who you are and being the supreme power all the time, 24/7, is any of those underlying fears of like, but if I'm more successful than so-and-so, or if I really can like bend time or like just chill and money's always in the bank, there might be some fears or threats or whatever. Or you might even notice it around people. When you live this life, you start to see the jealousy and the competition. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This to me is, again, that systematic change where it's like, let's just do it now. Because like, why? We don't have to deal with that if we don't want to. So let's get into it, and we will see where we end up. I'm sure we'll do a little revision before we end here. All right, here we go.
The questions start rolling in, and you can see the anxiety in their eyes, the fear that comes with stepping into true power. The first client, a top-tier CEO who spent her life making calculated decisions, raises her hand. What if I go too far? She asks, her voice steady but tinged with concern. What if I become too bold, too demanding, and end up hurting the people I love? What if I turn into the very thing I fear, a narcissist, using the same tactics that were used on me? Inner Conversation, LLC, 2025, 69. You smile a slow, seductive smile that tells her she's about to learn something that will change her life. Let me tell you something, darling, you say, your voice a low, sultry purr that commands the room. You don't need to fear your power. The only reason you're afraid is because you haven't fully claimed it yet. When you're still teetering on the edge, when you haven't fully stepped into your authority, that's when the fear creeps in. But once you own it, once you accept that you are the only cause in your reality, that everything and everyone in your world is simply a reflection of your state of consciousness, then there's no need for fear, because you know that your intentions are pure, that your power is rooted in truth and love, and the absolute knowing that you are the creator of your world. She nods, but you can see the hesitation still lingering in her eyes. So you press on, your voice dripping with the kind of authority that leaves no room for doubt. And as for becoming a narcissist, you continue, your tone cool and controlled, let me be clear, you are not here to control others in the way that you were once controlled. You're here to command your reality, to create a world that reflects the truth of who you are. There's a world of difference between owning your power and using manipulation tactics out of fear. Narcissists manipulate because they are terrified. They don't believe in their own power, so they try to control others to feel safe. But you don't need to manipulate. You simply assume the state you desire, and the world conforms to that assumption. Handling the fear of self-absorption and hurting others.
All right, we will do that one tomorrow. What I want to do for today, to kind of bring these to a close here, when you allow yourself, and I'm obviously assuming you've been doing this with me, to be in your full power, and you've been taking on different, control methods of others, and essentially transmuting them for yourself and being like, no, I'm the one in control. But instead of going and seeking revenge or whatever, and using that power against them, you are taking that control where control can actually be had, which is your imaginal acts, right? Which is with the senses, which is you creating your sovereign state, your world, you defining the systems, you defining who you are, how others treat you, so on and so forth. And truly the power, right, is not reacting. You're not reacting to the mirror anymore. You're just not doing it. You're just going in, revising, and really getting an incredible control of your senses, right? So when you are doing this, and I'm going to assume, right, that you'll do it and you'll have these really good moments like I do. I'll have these really powerful moments, and then something will get me. Something will set me off. I'll see something, and it's something that was so such an old fear, such an old system thing that I almost completely forget I'm the power, right? And I don't even know how to generate any images or smells or anything. I'm just oh my God, I just can't. In that moment, that is where you want to start to catch yourself to the best of your ability. And what do I feel is bigger than me right now? What am I feeling in my body right now? What is just getting curious and breathing through it anyway. And then, okay, see if you can get the sense, what are they picking up on? And this to me is where the mastery of revision is, can you just kind of name it neutrally? What am I seeing? I'm seeing disappointment. I'm seeing, oh, they need this or I'm going to be hurt. What am I hearing? I'm hearing a threat. I'm hearing some type of threatening, hostile voice. I'm feeling, touching, coldness. I'm shrinking down. I can barely breathe. I am tasting staleness, nothing would even be appetizing. I'm in terror, or I'm smelling stagnicity or just stress. I have to stress and be urgent about this. And in those moments, whatever the fear is, that if you own this right now and generate your senses and decide, I'm going to do this anyway, I'm going to revise it anyway. Are you scared that you're still going to get in trouble? Are you scared that, right, if you actually tell them what you want and what it's going to be, they're going to retaliate? See if you can kind of, in that moment, anticipate what you think is coming. And then to the best of your ability, that's where we try to get bigger. We command our senses, no, we're going to generate a happy face. We are going to hear them be nope, I'm actually just you pushed out. We're going to do our best to breathe in some opulence, some ocean air. We're going to at least breathe deep for sure, right? Try to taste some nourishment, some good food. At least take a sip of water, something. And it's just those little increments start to change everything. And that is actually the subtlety of truly getting your power back. Because what we actually fear, right, is if you are scared of becoming the narcissist or controlling another, technically, if you act people pleasing is a form of manipulation, right? If you went and acted out there and abandoned yourself and you went out there to ease things out there, right? Versus actually going into your true power, which is what we just talked about, that is actually manipulating back. you're trying to manipulate a mirror, which you can never change anyway. Just like technically these manipulators or emotional blackmail, they only have power as far as you decide they do. And right, as you do this, you realize that when you learn to breathe and not respond right away or react right away to please them, and you do it more and more, you kind of realize like, wait, hold on, they are just me pushed out. Like that fear reaction loses its pull. And then we're like, oh, I really could actually hear them be like, anything you want, whatever it is, right? And so like the true power move here is being too big. All that actually means is like you are always going to choose going within, generating the senses, what you desire, and you're just going to choose to not placate to a mirror that can give you nothing anyway. You're just going to do the very logical and smart thing to stay in your own power and sovereignty because that was always the truth. You're not going to give into the lie anymore. Where, right, narcissists or all that stuff, that's just playing an outer game, which will always be a lie if it's not sustained on the inside, if it's not, right, from a place of actual power, which is your imagination. I intend that makes perfect sense, or define it as you will. But we will go on tomorrow and we will keep going through the different tactics and how to claim it back in the moment. But again, if you really look at coming into your full power, I want you to notice if you have some definition, if that means like you're telling everyone what to, I mean, you can tell everyone what to do, whatever, but you do it on the inside, right? Does power mean that, right, you're out there controlling others, or does power mean that you are going within and you are generating exactly what you want it to be? And even if that means you're telling others what to do, right, you're imagining the version of them, it's like, yeah, cool, into it. It's a completely different result than trying to control a mirror that you can never control anyway, versus going within, controlling your senses, your imagination, which you were born to do. And then the mirror just doing what it was always doing in the first place, reflecting. All right. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, what you feel, what you're generating, what's happening, or what you're scared of. We can revise it, and then we'll do more tomorrow.